Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Miss Amira here, back with another activity. So we're going to start off with our community builder, and this one's going to be really fun. It is called Facial Expression Check-In. So I want to do a quick check-in to see how everyone is doing today. So let's take a moment and think what facial expression might best describe the mood that we're in today. So maybe it's a silly face, or it's a big smile, or maybe even something else. So when I say express yourself, I want you to make a facial expression. All right, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, express yourself. So what kind of face did you make? Do you think that it reflects the mood that you're in today? Or do you think you just did a silly face because it was funny? All right, guys. So today in this activity, we will explore what identity is. So we're going to work together to understand what makes up each of our personal identities. So let's start with what we think an identity is. So let's take a few moments to think about what you think an identity is. Now, do you think an identity is the way someone looks, or is it something that they wear, or is it the way that they act? There's a lot of different ways that you can imagine what an identity is. But an identity has to do with a person's sense of self and the way that they feel about themselves as well as others. We're going to take a quick look at a couple of images, and they are artistic interpretations of identity. So I'm going to very quickly share my screen, and we're going to take a look at these images together. There we go. So here are some examples of artistic interpretations of self-identity. So let's look at them together, and then I have a few questions to discuss. So I'm going to scroll through them very slowly. So here we see a man in a suit, but he also has big muscle arms drawn around him in chalk. So a couple questions that I want you to think about as we're looking through these. What do you think the artist or photographers is trying to say about this person's identity? And what do you see in this picture that might support your opinion? How does the picture make you feel? So this one's kind of similar to what we did in our community builder with Express Yourself. As you can see, he has a lot of different pictures of himself all printed out, and he's changing them by putting them over top of his face. Let's keep going here. And this one's interesting. Here we have a woman who has a lot of tattoos, right? So what do you think that the photographer was trying to say about this person's identity? Do you think that they are a good person or a bad person based on their tattoos? How about this one? This one's very interesting because that looks like coding. So what is inside of a computer or inside of a phone that makes it work? And as you can see, this person's face, it looks like a young man, is covered in coding and graphs and different types of computer parts. And this one's very interesting. How does this one make you feel? You see she's covering up her face with her hands, but we can still see kind of her eyes and her mouth. Does she look happy? Does she look sad? Why do you think she's covering up her face but still showing emotion? And what about this one? This one's a little hard to see, but we see a fist, and then we see a very angry man in the background, right? And how about this one? A girl looking into a broken glass, or a man looking into a mirror. Now, what do you think the photographer is trying to say about this person's identity? You see here the man looking in the mirror doesn't look upset, but then he looks at his reflection and he is very visibly upset. And we have one more, and we have a guy covering his mouth, like he's not going to speak, right? All right, so your internal identity has more to do with your thoughts, emotions, preferences, and personality. So, for example, you might think of yourself as caring or persistent. So, I'm going to share my screen one more time, and we're going to take a look at something called a mind map. There it is. All right, so let's take a look at our mind map. It's a little hard to see, but your internal identity is connected to your external, but has more to do with your thoughts, emotion, preferences, and personalities instead of your social groups. So, for example, you may think of yourself as caring or persistent. You may prefer reading to playing sports. Or you may think of yourself as impulsive, or may have someone who weighs all your options carefully before making a decision. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few minutes to look at this mind map and brainstorm some of the factors that make up your identity. So if you have a pencil and a piece of paper, you can draw this out, or you can print it out with the link below. And we're going to take a couple of minutes to complete this. Now, I'm going to leave this up on my screen. So for my friends who are going to draw it out, they can. And also feel free to just make a list. It doesn't necessarily have to be bubbles. I'm going to complete one myself. We're just going to take a few minutes to just kind of fill it out, write some of our ideas about ourselves. Now, remember, think about things that you feel like make you as a person, make up your identity. So, for example, one of the examples was caring. And I feel as though that I am very caring. And don't worry about spelling or, you can even draw a picture if you want. And even if you don't get all of them, maybe you only fill out a couple, 3 or 4, that's fine. You can always come back and fill it out later. I'm scratching things out already. All right, let's take a couple more seconds together. And again, if you don't have time to finish it, you can always come back and finish it later. I'm only going to fill out a few here, maybe 1 or 2 more. All right. So I have a couple filled out. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to take a look at mine for an example, okay? There we go. So here's my mind map, and I have printed it out. So here's a couple of things that I have filled out. I have put caring. Let me hold up so you guys can see. I scratched one out, as you can see. And that's okay, mistakes happen. I put funny, adventurous, friendly, motivated, and creative. And I feel like these are some of the thoughts that I have about myself that make up my identity. So again, feel free to go back and relook at it. If you want to draw a picture instead, that's also an option. All right, so now that we have thought a little bit about what our self-identity is, there's an opportunity to express yourself artistically with a self-portrait. So think about what your self-portrait might look like and share some ideas with either your parents or your siblings or your cousins or whoever you have around. Now, for some of you who don't know, a self-portrait is basically when you draw a picture of yourself. So you can do it in any kind of form if you want to use crayons or markers or even cut out pictures and paste them back together on a piece of paper. So we are we're going to be able to complete these self-portraits at home when you log on to My Future and upload it later for everybody else to see. So the My Future activity that you are going to do is for your self-portrait. So make sure that you go on to myfuture.com after this. As always, everyone, make sure that you follow us on YouTube and on Facebook to get all of our updates on new videos and different activities and information. So until next time, everyone, see you later. Bye.